Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Have you ever seen a moment so brief, yet its impact feels far greater than what appears on the surface? A small gesture, almost unintentional, yet capable of sparking thousands of reactions, debates, and even conflicting narratives. The third concert in Tampa became clear proof of that. Amid the grandeur of the stage, the dazzling lights, and the ocean of ARMY voices, there was one simple moment that instantly captured attention, when Jungkook gently tucked Jimin's hair behind his ear. Just a few seconds, but enough to split the internet into two sides, those who saw it as a sincere gesture, and those who tried to explain it with various technical reasons. So the question is, was it really just a coincidence? Or is there something that simply can't be hidden? In this video, we'll dive into the small details that often go unnoticed, expressions, gestures, and dynamics that speak louder than words. Today felt like a closing chapter that was not only grand, but also deeply meaningful in the BTS Arirang Tour soundcheck series in Tampa. Entering day 3, the final concert, the atmosphere shifted. It became deeper, warmer, and filled with emotion. There was a collective feeling that's hard to explain, as if everyone present realized this moment would never happen the same way again. It wasn't just a concert, but a temporary farewell wrapped in beautiful memories. Amid the sparkling stage and the roaring enthusiasm of ARMY, Jimin appeared with such soft and genuine charm. He asked fans to pose, then personally captured the moment himself. A simple interaction, yet that's exactly where its beauty lies. Nothing excessive, nothing forced, just a small, personal, warm, and incredibly adorable gesture that could make anyone watching smile emotionally. But that wasn't the only thing that made the final day feel so special. There was another moment that quietly stole attention, Jungkook seemingly unable to take his eyes off Jimin. It wasn't just a glance. There was softness, attentiveness, and something deeper, like a story that didn't need words. A brief moment, yet enough to make people pause and truly feel it. In the end, day 3 wasn't just about the final performance, but about the memories left behind. About small interactions, meaningful glances, and warmth that lingers even after the stage lights go out. The last concert in Tampa felt like a chapter specially written for Jikook. Not because it was intentional, but because the energy between Jimin and Jungkook that night felt different. Closer, warmer, and flowing naturally, as if they were completely immersed in their own world, even in front of thousands of cheering fans. From beginning to end, their small interactions became the main highlight. Nothing big or dramatic, just simple details that felt the most genuine. One of the most memorable moments happened during the final Q&A session that night. As Jimin was speaking, Jungkook looked at him without looking away even for a second. His gaze was focused, soft, and full of attention. Then, without hesitation, he casually tucked Jimin's hair behind his ear. A small gesture, but with a huge impact. The entire venue seemed to pause for a moment, before melting into the warmth of it. It wasn't just a touch, it was a subtle, spontaneous, and deeply personal form of care. The reactions were inevitable. The moment felt intimate, almost like something meant to happen in a private space, not in front of thousands. They smiled, whispered to each other, and looked completely comfortable together. No awkwardness, no distance, just two people enjoying each other's presence in the most natural way. And as if that wasn't enough, another moment followed. When Jimin said, "I love you," to ARMY, Jungkook said it too. But what made it different was where he was looking. Instead of facing the crowd, he was clearly looking at Jimin as he said it. A small detail, yet enough to shift the atmosphere, making it feel more personal, more meaningful, and of course sparking various reactions among fans. The night was also filled with Jungkook's energetic actions. He confidently performed a flip, then moved toward Jimin. But what made this moment truly memorable was his reaction afterward. Jungkook looked so proud, like a child who had just accomplished something amazing, and immediately reported it to Jimin. Jimin responded just as warmly. He gently patted Jungkook's head and lightly tapped him while smiling. A simple gesture, yet full of meaning. A form of appreciation that didn't need many words. It's interactions like these that made the third night in Tampa feel so special. Not just about perfect choreography or stunning vocals, but about small details that reveal a closeness that's hard to ignore. Interestingly, Jikook never seemed to try to be the center of attention. Yet precisely because of their naturalness, all eyes were drawn to them. They laughed, shared moments, and enjoyed every second together in a way that felt genuine. And maybe that's where the beauty lies. Amid the dazzling lights and roaring cheers, there was a quiet story unfolding, one that could only be understood by those who truly paid attention. However, behind all these sweet moments, the third concert in Tampa also sparked reactions from others, especially those who quietly follow every interaction only to criticize it. Yes, we're talking about Taekookers. The moment Jungkook tucked Jimin's hair immediately became a debate. Various explanations emerged, from technical reasons like fixing extensions, to speculation that it was simply a crew instruction through an in-ear monitor. But these explanations often overlook the most visible thing: Jungkook's own expression. His genuine smile, relaxed movement, and unhurried manner made it feel natural. Not stiff, not mechanical, and far from just a task. Moreover, this wasn't an isolated moment. Throughout the concert, Jimin and Jungkook showed a consistent pattern of interaction, seeking each other out, paying attention to one another, and returning to that warm dynamic whenever they were close. When sitting together, they joked, exchanged smiles, and looked completely at ease. These small details form a bigger picture that's hard to dismiss as meaningless. If seen honestly, it's difficult to call it an empty reflex. Jungkook didn't move quickly without thought. He paused, leaned in, touched gently, and let the moment linger. There was a sense of spontaneity and comfort that felt real. The debate continues to repeat. A moment appears, goes viral, then is followed by counter-narratives. But context cannot be ignored. This is part of a long series of interactions that have consistently been visible, both in this concert and before. Throughout the night, that connection was clear: lingering glances, effortless smiles, and small gestures that seemed meant only for each other. Nothing felt forced, everything flowed naturally. In the end, it all comes down to how you see it. You're free to interpret it as friendship, closeness, or something more. But one thing is hard to ignore: that connection exists, and it keeps showing even in the simplest moments. So, what do you think? Just a coincidence or part of a bigger story? Write your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Jikook Moments for more analysis.